After asking about Rooney, Snowy, Jacob, Susie, and Amanda's mother, Savannah sent the email, then dialed Edward's cabin to ask him to meet her on the top deck. "Why did you want to meet here?" Edward was fully recovered, and his slicked-back hair shone in the sun. "This is where the security staff think Ian went over." "I think they're wrong. I wanted to see if there were any marks of a fall in this section. I'd like to be very sure of our belief before Ian's parents meet us at the port later this morning. We can examine each deck that we have access to for any signs of someone going overboard. I don't think we'll find anything, but I don't want to say that we haven't looked." "I agree," Edward said with a serious edge in his voice. "I would never have thought of that. Brilliant." Savannah had completed a sweep of the wooden railing on the top deck when Edward turned toward the back of the ship. "What's that?" "What's what?" "Sounds like someone is crying." Edward tilted his head to locate the sound. He pointed back to the stern. "Over there." They walked over to see a tall, lean young woman holding a tissue to her face. She blew her nose, crumpled the tissue, and stuffed it into the back pocket of her white, short shorts. Her light blonde hair was blowing wildly over her face in the ship's breeze. She wore a simple navy tank and rich leather sandals. She didn't make a move to tidy her hair or wipe the tears streaming from her face. "Miss," said Edward, "is something wrong?" "I can't find him." Edward and Savannah looked at each other, then turned to the young woman. Savannah moved to stand next to her. "You can't find who?" She pulled a tissue from the travel packet she carried in her other hand. "I can't find Ian. The security police won't help." She blew her nose again and stuffed the tissue in her back pocket. "I even told him we were engaged. I showed them my engagement ring." The young woman stuck out her hand and let the light catch on the small pearl ring. "But they said I wasn't a legal relation." Savannah pointed to an angry welt on her arm. "Wait, how did you get that? Did you have a fight with Ian?" The blonde covered the mark with her hand. "No, it wasn't like that. He wouldn't do that, never." Edward stepped over to stand close to her, and Savannah walked around to the other side of the weeping woman. Savannah glanced at Edward. He cleared his throat. "Excuse me, I'm Ian's cousin. Why on earth did he not tell me that he proposed?" She used the heels of her hands to wipe her eyes and then turned her face into the bracing wind. "I was dating Ian back in my hometown. That's St. Albans." She looked up at Edward. "He didn't mention that a cousin was going to be on the cruise." "We're even then. Ian didn't tell me his fiancée would be here." "Ex-fiancée?" She sniffed and hiccuped. "We broke it off last week." Savannah put her hand on the girl's arm. "My name is Savannah Webb, and this is Edward Morris. What's your name?" "It's Sally Maggio. I met Ian at the White Horse pub in St. Albans. We hit it off really, really, really well. I thought he was going to be the one for me. Really, I honestly did." She pulled out another tissue. "And then my sister had to mess things up, of course. That's what Ruth always does." Sally began to weep in great gulps. Savannah put her arm around Sally, who then let loose with deep sobs of misery. There. Savannah patted Sally on the back. "I don't understand. What does your sister have to do with Ian?" "Everything," came as a muffled reply. Sally lifted her head. "Ruth is my older sister, and she's insanely jealous of my boyfriends. She always charms them away from me. Then she drops them like a hot rock, but they never come back to me. It's spiteful, hateful, mean, nasty, and bloody awful." Sally clung to Savannah again, and her sobs were so loud people were beginning to stop and stare. "Edward, let's take Sally somewhere quiet. How about the secluded section on the front of Deck 11? "Great idea." Edward led them to the elevator, and they went out the port side of the ship to a space with a few lonely deck chairs and not a single person in sight. They led Sally to a chair and sat on either side of her.